or spirit for our opening hymn printed in your orders of service. I'm listening.
I'm Reverend Kimberly Tomchek Carlson, and it is my honor to serve as your faith formation minister here at First Church. The story I have for you today is a story about the origin of our water ritual. Each autumn, Unitarian Universalist churches around the world celebrate a cycle of return and connections to one another and to our earth through a water ritual. Yet the origins of this tradition are rooted in breaking tradition. It began in 1980 with two women in the Midwest, Carolyn and Lucille, who were looking to create belonging in their Unitarian Universalist faith. In 1980, our UU faith lacked much of the diversity and dynamic elements we've come into in the last 45 years. The ministers then were almost always white men, the music was very traditional, and the format was often static and still. Carolyn McDade, who wrote the song Spirit of Life, and her friend Lucille Shook Longview, longed to create a ritual to represent our connections to one another, to the cycle of life, to our place on the planet. The element of water that nourishes and sustains us within, among, and beyond felt like the right universal symbol. Water had the potential to be a symbol to include all and to hold a missing element, women's spirituality. These are their words from that first water ritual. Celebrating now our connectedness, we choose water as our symbol of empowerment. As rivers in a cycle release their waters and regain new beginnings, so do we cycle. For us as women, these beginnings are powerful, but not easy. But still, we come to create and to celebrate and to live by the only spirituality worthy of our devotion, a spirituality that uplifts, empowers, and connects. The water ceremony they created broke with tradition in significant ways. First, it was created by lay women, women who had long been silent in the pews. The ritual was made sacred by women themselves who came together from near and far, carrying water, as women do all over the world. One woman brought water from the Rio Grande, another from a mountain lake in New York, another from the prairies of Canada, water from the mouth of the Mississippi River, and rainwater from the roof of Maryland, all found its way to that first water ritual in East Lansing, Michigan. And there they sang, "We're coming home to the spirit of our soul. We're coming home, and the healing makes us whole. Like rivers running to the sea, we're coming home, we're coming home." They called that first water ritual "Coming Home, Like Rivers to the Sea." Carolyn and Lucille and all those water carriers were part of the women's movement who helped reshape our faith to reflect the lives and the values of women. In their words, so we come together to question, to hear, to share, to speak, to inspire, and to celebrate through new rituals, knowing that our energy and our love is transforming. Transformation, it's a cherished value in our Unitarian Universalist faith. It urges us forward. It asks us to embrace truth as we discover it and grapple with the changes that new truths require of us. We live into our ever-transforming tradition here at First Church through social justice actions, board and team meetings, circle suppers, theme circles, Sunday services, faith formation for our children and youth, and more. We, too, are part of the journey to reshape our faith, to center love, and to embrace the many identities who find us seeking belonging. May all our rivers of connections flow together to form one united people.
Dear ones, searching for connection, may we find belonging here. May we build belonging together. May we remember our inherent belonging to the world, to the water, to life itself. Some questions for each of us as we pour our water into community. What water do you carry? Where do you come from, and to whom do you belong? What rivers have shaped you? What feelings flow through you? What do you carry in with you? What can you offer others? In the ebb and flow in relationship in community, how does your belonging hold you? And how can that holding build a belonging for others? Come, let us bring our water to the living river of being. May we merge our individual lives into larger belonging.
You may have remembered to bring some water from home today. You may not have. And that is also fine. We have water here available for you. So as Alyssa begins to play some music, please rise and come forward to be part of our merging of the waters ritual. You are welcome as you pour your water into the bowl to speak a word of offering or of belonging if you choose, or you can hold it in your hearts. Come, let us merge our waters. Dear ones, I'm so sorry to share with you the news of a death in our congregation. Dan Hazelmeyer died peacefully at home of advanced Parkinson's on September 10th, 2025, with his wife Sue and his daughter Molly by his side. While Dan's journey with Parkinson's has been difficult, he left his loved ones with smiles on their faces, taking his last breath after Sue told him to go out with the fireworks. And he did, while the cannons boomed during his beloved 1812 overture. Dan was 78 years old and a member of First Church for 23 years. Everyone is invited to Dan's memorial service, which will be on Saturday, November 15th at 11 a.m. I'll be officiating. It is our tradition in this congregation to light our candle of life in honor of a birth, an adoption, or a death among our members. Today, we light our candle in honor of Dan Hazelmeyer. I invite you to join me now in a time of contemplation, which will be followed by silence, followed by the seated singing of Spirit of Life, hymn 123. May you find yourself where you are. Maybe you use your breath to do that. Maybe you feel your body. Whatever your practice, come into being here and now. Spirit of life and love, Holy One of our being and our becoming, that which is sacred within, among, and beyond us. May we be held. Love, hold us in these uncertain and troubled times. Spirit, move through us like water. Cleanse us and refresh us and nourish us and transform us. Wash out our fear and replace it with compassion. May we show up in care this week for our neighbors. May we move through community with love and connection. May we be part of the people crying out, love thy neighbor. May we know our neighbors, understand the truth that all of humanity is our neighbor. And may all those struggling and grieving today be held in care. May the guns and the bombs and the drones and the warplanes go silent. And may we know peace and justice and love. May we become them. May it be so.
Grand, glorious, and infinite rising, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. I am Jen Murray, and I am pleased to serve as your worship associate. We are a faith community of many identities. We welcome people of all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, abilities, and bodies. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all you are carrying with you today, and all your heart longs to set down. We welcome all of the people watching online, hello family, as we live stream this service. We enthusiastically welcome guests joining us today. If you are a guest visiting in person and want to connect with us, please fill out a welcome card located in the pew rack in front of you and drop it in the offering plates that will come around in a few minutes. If you are visiting online and want to connect, a link to connect with us will soon appear in the chat for you to click on and to fill out. Someone from church will reach out to connect with you. After the service, we invite you to join us for a social hour across the hall in the Leanhoots Common Room. Some accessibility notes. Hearing assist devices and large print hymnals and orders of service are at the back of the sanctuary, along with the worship activity bags. Thank you for showing that off there, friend. Along with worship activities bags for children and anyone who wants them. There is a fragrance-free area in the front right pews. If you are watching online, you can enable YouTube's closed captioning on your viewing device. Look for people in the common room after the service with a green tag that reads, "Ask me about theme circles." Registration is ongoing. Did you hear Amanda mention UFTA during her worship associate story last week and wonder what the group has been up to? Newsflash, they're back in business and rebranded as Ooh Yeah, UUYA, or UU Young Adults. If you're a member or friend of the church under 40, please join our Realm group to learn about upcoming events. You can contact Mariah, whose contact information is listed in your order of service and will be also available online. Or feel free to stop by the questions and connections table after the service if you'd like help getting connected. OWL, Our Whole Lives, is the nationally renowned human sexuality program we offer every other year for middle schoolers. This Sunday, there is a required meeting for parents of 7th through 9th grader children that would like their youth to participate in OWL this year. We will meet downstairs in the Reeb room at 10:30 a.m. Now, I invite you to share in our first church purpose by joining me in a unison affirmation of our mission, which is printed in your order of service. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire action. That's right, I love it. All right, every week we practice our values through sharing our resources. Our pledges are at the core of our spiritual practice of generosity. In addition, the church shares half of all non-pledge cash in our offering plate with a community organization practicing our value of interdependence. Today, we share the plate with WUSON, which is the Wisconsin Unitarian Universalist State Action Network. They work to unite Wisconsin's Unitarian Universalist congregations, fellowships, and allies to expand the reach of social justice efforts by providing guidance, volunteers, and resources, while also collaborating on statewide campaigns and educational events that advance collective action and meaningful change. The offering will now be gratefully received as we sing seated hymn 1007 in the teal hymnals. I invite all children, youth, and faith formation volunteers to sing the first verse, then follow Reverend Kimberly to the Leanhoots Common Room and downstairs for faith formation. If your child needs to check in, Please join them. Now, may the practice of giving bring us joy. Have you ever found yourself in a foreign land, literally or metaphorically, where nothing felt familiar? Where the waters around you were uncharted, the terrain unknown, and you wondered, do I belong here? I lived these questions when I served 24 months in the village of Malamato, Niger, West Africa, as a United States Peace Corps volunteer. A white-bodied person trained in therapeutic massage practices, studied anthropology, minored in psychology, arriving in a new land shortly after 9/11. This predominantly Islamic practicing country held the Sahel Desert, a place of sand dunes, blazing sun, dry heat, and a rhythm of life dependent entirely on the weather. And what I mean by the weather is whether or not the rains came. Seasons that were unfamiliar, patterns that were not in my bones, a generosity of heart that tugged at my desires to belong. In the beginning, I did not have to belong. I was there to be in service. My American ideas of teaching mother-infant massage seemed almost laughable compared to the daily survival tasks of pounding grain, carrying water, working the fields, and waiting for the rains. My first language of English was only meaningful for conversations in my head, as I was in an exclusively Hausa-speaking population amidst a French-colonized nation. There was a hot season known by Nigerians as the hunger season, which encompasses a stretch of bone-dry days when the food from the last harvest had run low, market prices for grains are out of reach, and the next rains had not yet arrived. It was often associated with the moon cycle of the Islamic calendar, in which there is the practice of spiritual fasting called Ramadan. It was hunger and longing made visible. I, too, was longing to be useful, longing to be understood, longing to belong. The moment of transformation came on a hilltop one evening. I was making my typical rounds through the village, greeting families at the end of the day, and found myself sitting with the elder men of the village who were drinking tea and talking about the weather. I had been learning Hausa with all of its tones, humor, and proverb-like phrases. And that evening, I took a risk. In the lengthy greeting process, I finished my greeting with a joke about the rains. Admittedly, the joke I told is not funny in English. In fact, if I tried to translate it here, it would not make sense at all. But in Hausa, in that place, in that season of waiting for rain, it brought levity. The men burst out laughing and immediately said to me, "Jamila," my Hausa name, "you are Hausa." I had gotten the language and the culture to bring light to what felt like a dire situation. This simple phrase, "you are Hausa," translated for me to "you belong." That moment, I had crossed a threshold. Belonging came not because I mastered a skill, not because I earned a title, but because I entered into relationship, exchanging language, embracing the land, acknowledging the culture, honoring the season, experiencing laughter that may well have been tears had we not found a way to connect to what it means to have the waters of belonging both inside of us and within community. That moment taught me that belonging is a vessel. Like the water pot carried on the heads of women from the well, belonging holds us. And like water, belonging flows best when there is reciprocity, a reciprocal felt sense of ebb and flow like the tides pulled by the moon. The rains arrive, the ground responds, the seeds get planted and eventually sprout, the people eat, the cycle continues. It is living, it is moving, it is an exchange with all of the elements around us. It remains breathing in me to this very day. This morning, as we poured our individual waters together in the ritual of community, I remember Niger, West Africa. I remember the dry desert, the hunger season. I remember the laughter that said, "You are one of us." And I remember, through breathwork and astrology, ancient technologies, and ancestral practices, that the waters in my body are recycled and eternal. The water in me is the water in you. We are in this ocean of humanity. We belong to each other. We belong to the waters. We belong to this larger unfolding universe. Remember, you already belong.
My childhood best friend asked her children to hike up to St. Mary's Glacier Lake in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains to scatter her ashes after her death last September. It's a 1.5 mile rocky incline of a hike, but when you arrive, you merge into panoramic views of a still, quiet lake tucked into snow-capped mountains. It feels like the lake is a slip of the close sky that you can almost touch atop that 10,000-foot mountain, heaven and earth mirroring one another. Wendell Berry wrote, "When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound and fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and I lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free." I grew up here, a few blocks away from Lake Michigan. And I remember as a child running down to the lake and playing in the water and the sand at the shore. Beach days were the best days, making sandcastles and wading into the fresh water, the living water, to swim and play. We human beings, we are drawn to water. It soothes us. Sight and sound and smell, we sleep better when we hear water. We are more calm when we look at water, and we can smell water in the air more acutely than sharks can smell blood. We human beings, we are deeply connected to the water, alpha to omega, beginning to end. We belong to it. There is a visceral belonging in the presence of water, where we can rest in the grace of the world, in a moving, flowing system that is so much larger than we are. In Unitarian Universalism, we do not have a creed. A creed is a belief statement about God to which everyone must ascribe. We don't have one of those. Instead, we have a shared set of values: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity, and love at the center of all of those things. That's the set of values that holds us together, and we swim around in them believing a variety of different things about who or what God is or is not. When I talk about faith, then, it can be a little confusing. One of our beloved church members has told me on more than one occasion, "Jennifer, when you talk about faith, I don't know what the heck you're talking about." And it's complicated, the faith that I am talking about. And I realize that complexity is not always a satisfying answer, particularly in troubled times. But the reality is that Unitarian Universalism is a living tradition that changes, that grows, that transforms as our human understanding of reality, of nature, of the earth and the cosmos grows and changes and transforms. We value transformation. It is one of our core values in Unitarian Universalism, so instead of a creed, we center love and we just keep learning and growing and changing. When I sit down with our members, though, and I ask you, and I do this from time to time, I ask you who or what you belong to. What is the larger thing that you are part of, that you know that you belong to? I hear answers like, I belong to my beloveds, to my people. I belong to the human community. I belong to this earth. I belong to water. I belong to time, to love, to the universe itself. There are so many things that are larger than us in which we can have faith and to which we genuinely, truly, and authentically belong. Faith, then, means allowing ourselves to rest in that larger thing. It means having the humility to release our attachment to our particularities, to our lives, to our egos, and surrender to the entanglement with each other in the larger web of life, in the universe, in the cosmos. In 2022, Cecilia Ciccarelli and Fujin Du published an academic article in a scientific journal entitled, "We Drink Good 4.5 Billion Year Old Water." The article shows that a substantial portion of the living water on Earth today is 4.5 billion years old as our solar system. And we, as human beings, our bodies are made up of this water. We're somewhere between 55 to 70% water. So within us right now, within each and every one of you, are water molecules that are as old as the Earth, as old as the solar system in which we live. One single cell can contain billions of molecules of water. And most of the water in our bodies is replaced within a month. So you have been many, many, many different molecules of water. And over 4.5 billion years, those molecules have been everywhere. In its life cycle, water, it moves through the land and all of the land's living beings, plants, animals, us. It flows through the rivers and the lakes and the oceans. And when those waters get heated up, some of the water molecules evaporate, they go up into the air, they blow around for a while, and eventually they gather, they cool and they gather, they get dense enough to become clouds and rain back onto the earth, moving again through the land and its living beings. That cycle of water has no beginning and it has no end. It is continuous and has been continuous for 4.5 billion years. In their 2021 scientific journal article, Water and Life, the medium is the message, Moran, Frankel-Pinter et al. Show that water is the medium of biology. Water is the most frequent actor in metabolic processes, in metabolism, in the processes that create and are required for life. Water is how life is alive. It's how we grow. It's how we change. It's how we transform. It's how we live another day. Our very bodies are part of this never-ending cycle that is so much larger and so much older than us. This cycle that has no beginning and has no end. The water that is cycling through you has been cycling through everything for billions of years. And there are billions of bits of water inside of you. All of them have been around essentially forever. They've been through every living thing. They've been part of this infinite cycle of transformation. So right now, you might contain molecules that have moved through Cleopatra and Mozart, or maybe Nelson Mandela, or the Dalai Lama. The water that is inside you right now, charging up your life force, it's come from everywhere, moved through everything. You've likely carried water of a hummingbird, of a bear, of a lion, of an anglefish, of a coral reef, of a shark. Monsters of the deep to birds of the air, villain to heroine to savant, the water within you, it's been everywhere. It is part of the infinite cycle of life, and so are you. I know these days are troubled, dear ones. The news cycle is hard. You have a never-ending onslaught of terror in your pocket at this very moment if you want to open it. So when you wake in the night, at the least sound in fear of what your life or your children's lives may be, go out for a moment and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, where the great heron feeds. Let yourself come into the presence of still water. Let yourself rest in the grace of the world. No matter what comes, you are irrevocably part of the whole. You can never be separated from the wholeness of life. No matter the scary stories, or the threats of violence, or the blaring screens that insist we are separate from one another, we are never separate from each other or from the cycle of life. And the choices we make matter. What we do with our individual molecules, it matters. Our choices to center love and kindness and respect for life. All of that matters because when we make a ripple in the water around us, we want it to ripple out love. But dear ones, we are not the river. We are just drops of water within it. And our job is to be love in the moment of water that we are in. So I hope you can remember that even when it feels scary, even when you feel disconnected, you are part of something so much larger and you can never be separated from it. You belong to it. You belong to the water and the earth and the human community and the whole. You can rest in that. You can trust it and come back to it. You're a drop in the ocean that is becoming. May your drop be love. May we let love ripple through us and out. And dear ones, then may we rest in the grace of the world and be free. May it be so. Dear ones, we belong to a moving, living river that is so much larger than any one of us. May we choose to move with love inside of that river and then rest in the grace of it and be free. Will you please rise in body or spirit for our recessional hymn, number 1064, in the teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home.